What's up, everybody? Welcome to another live episode of the Modern Lending Podcast. I am stoked you are here with me online live, and I'm also stoked if you're listening to this later on as it gets re-released as a podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a fun conversation. I try my best to bring a lot of value to you guys on these podcast days on Thursdays. And a lot of you know, and this is a little bit of a humble brag, but I wrote a book and it comes out May 28th. So that's in like 7 days. So thank you for all that have pre-ordered. But one of the chapters in this book is on consultation and quoting. And I almost literally dedicated this chapter to the man that we're going to bring on our podcast, Dave Savage. This guy has been leaning in to contemporary consultative practices for what feels like a decade. I mean, honestly, we'll get it. Dave will correct this, but it feels like forever, from video technology and leveraging the web to make an online digital presentation. And guess what? That's all we got now. So let's bring on Dave Savage and have an incredible conversation about digital consultations. Yes, here we are. Dave Savage, the man. I'm super jealous of your digital background. Like I want something as cool as that because I got wood and yours is like an actual like MortgageCoach like domain. It's
well, there's the logo up there, but no, it's a pretty sweet background, and hats off to the MortgageCoach product and design team.
So good. Hey, everybody, we are live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. If you are there, drop a comment from where you are listening in from. We'd love to engage with you. All of your comments are live. We're seeing them. We're experiencing them. So any questions you have as we're going through this live podcast, we want to engage. So jump in. Hey, Dave, thank you, number one, for hanging out with me today.
Thank you for inviting me to hang out with you.
Well, for those of you that know Dave, like this guy, you are one of the busiest guys in the game. Like you are consistently putting out enriched content to drive our industry forward, bringing new conversations. And so I know how busy you are, not only in just running MortgageCoach, but just and also producing a lot of stuff for everybody that's in our community. So thank you for that.
Well, I love doing it, and we have an amazing community. And the mortgage industry is an amazing industry. So it's a gift and a pleasure.
I love that comment because even when I started in 2003, the mortgage industry had a taint to it. It was not necessarily thought of as, this amazing industry, this amazing platform. It was kind of like used car salesmen and mortgage people were like fighting for superiority. And here we are, though, in this incredible industry in this unparalleled time. And the mortgage industry is actually going to be one of the amazing industries of the United States that helped pull this country out of the COVID recession. And I'm just really proud to be part of it. Proud to be part of it.
Yeah, there is no doubt. This is a tremendous opportunity for our industry. The house and the home is the center of the universe for a family. And most families need a mortgage to experience that amazing, wealth building opportunity. And guys, I do not think we're competing with used car salesmen. I mean, the quality of loan officers in America has elevated, and it just continues to elevate. It's one of the things I love about your book is it's a blueprint to being that modern, elevated mortgage professional. And I think it's a very bright time to be in this industry.
Well, look, we've got people from all over. We got Jersey Shore, we got Colorado, we got Oregon, we got Texas. And we're already getting some of your fans jumping on here. Tammy's quote is the best. Woot, Dave Savage doing digital before it was a thing. And that's actually like, Tammy, that's dead on like one of the conversations I want to start with you, Dave, which is, it's crazy to me. MortgageCoach as a platform, as a technology was leaning into digital conversations and digital consultations literally before it was cool. Because now you don't have a choice. Like we were just talking about this 2 seconds ago, guys, before we went live. Like we, as a local mortgage pro, like one of the things I loved doing was getting face-to-face with my customers and explaining an LE or explaining a CD or explaining the costs and the fees and the whole stuff. You can't do that anymore. And right. You can't do it anymore. And I think, Dave, so let's just ask this question. What's like subscribership and like, what are people, what are you experiencing for MortgageCoach?
Well, I mean, the virtual mortgage experience has exploded. And I think Zoom and the results they're putting out is into the public in terms of their user base, how many more people are doing virtual experiences has exploded. And the MortgageCoach network has exploded. Like we We almost hit 1 million families a year last year getting a TCA. We're going to crush over 2 million families a year getting a TCA this year. Between our integrations and the number of families that are clicking on it, it's exploded. And then our users, loan officers that are creating a total cost analysis, I mean, it's up multiples of percent. I mean, it's a virtual explosion.
You know, and it's so funny. You talk about, you know, skating to where the puck is going, right? The great Wayne Gretzky quote of like, you know, I skate where the puck is going. And I don't think anyone would have predicted that we were going to this place where
not this fast.
Yeah.
Not this fast.
And man, but when tipping points happen, when things happen like this, I mean, the mortgage crisis was, no one thought how fast that happened. Fast. It was like, oh no, and then just total destruction of the industry. You know, in our world, everything was going digital, and then all of a sudden COVID hit. And then it's like, whoa, now we're almost purely digital. And so, you know, one of the things that I love that you do, and that I'd like to kind of maybe have you unpack for a few minutes, you connect to a lot of top originators. You share their content. You host things like Scriptapalooza, by the way, which is epic. If you guys haven't seen that on the YouTubes, it's amazing. But Dave, what are you seeing, like real talk live happening around us right now, that the best loan officers are doing leveraging MortgageCoach?
Well, I think there's been at least a 5-year acceleration in digital adoption. And I do think we're entering this new phase, which I had been calling all of last year, the digital shift era. And I think we're in this new phase called a new chapter of the book called the virtual shift era, where we need to connect virtually, how realtors show homes and market homes. You know, they're doing virtual listing appointments.
Yeah.
So there's just an explosion of professionals creating content.
Yeah.
The webinar wars, I call it, in the mortgage industry. I used to be kind of like,
dude, I like
the guy that was doing, you know, the most.
What is the webinar
content.
wars?
But now we got this show going on. There's another show, so there is that. You know, people have stepped into the stage, and they're on virtual stages. I think, you know, now there's the skill level. You know, I love how you played off of Renee Rodriguez's digital body language, and you know, the people that are like looking in the corner at the picture, or the people that are over here. So there's, you know, different people show up at different levels, and the best of the best are just learning quick. Like, I was on the phone the other day with Shayla Gifford, you know, rock star mortgage professional, and she wasn't talking into the eye. Hey, that's the camera. Dude, she fixed it. Like, the end of the day, she's like, I did 3 meetings and I'm on it. And so I'm seeing the best of the best. They're just getting good rapidly. You know, they're unlearning their bad habits. They're relearning new habits. And guys, the mortgage industry is leading housing virtually in America. We're teaching realtors how to do it. And the best of the best are just learning really fast. That's what I'm seeing.
Dude, you know what that tells me too? It's not just that their skill in learning is probably maybe above average, but they're also willing to make mistakes. You know, you can't learn to stare at the camera and get that feedback from you unless the camera's on. So, you know, that's a wonderful point. So share a little bit about your total cost analysis. Because there are some people that, by the way, may have never heard of MortgageCoach. The industry.
Watching this call right now, you think there's someone?
No, not true.
So guys, if you've never heard of MortgageCoach and you're watching this, let me know. Like, I'm hearing about MortgageCoach I'm just kidding, but
that would be fantastic.
I do want to know.
Well, because here's the reality, Dave. Like, new blood's coming into our industry. Brand new blood is coming into the mortgage space right now because we're hiring, like a bunch of other companies. Like, we're going to hire like 3,000 people between now and the end of the year, and a bunch of other mortgage companies are going to have rapid growth. There are not enough loan professionals in our industry today to handle the volume that's coming at us. When rates go into the 2s and there's $7 to $6 trillion of opportunity out there, there's not enough humans in our industry to manage this influx. We're going to need new blood, and they're going to never have heard of MortgageCoach. They're going to come in from wherever they came in. And I want you in the simplest way possible. What does a TCA analysis do? So
when I founded MortgageCoach and you know, the TCA, I always came from this concept that I want to make money, I want to be successful, but I want to be valuable And that was always my guiding light, to create tangible value and to do it in a way that was unique. Like if everybody's doing this, I need to do it a little different. And
Yeah.
so a couple of things that I think are common sense that I discovered early on in my career was that, every loan officer is quoting rates, payment, and cash to close, which are essential parts of a transaction.
For sure.
But there were some things that loan officers weren't doing. And, they weren't showing families the total cost over time. So let's face it, people don't just get a loan for a monthly payment, and they don't get a loan and keep it for 30 years. Usually there's like, oh, I want it for 3 years. I want it for 5 years. I want it for 7 years. And so to me, that was just common sense that if you're going to get a loan, look at it over windows of time that are relevant to you.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember where I first saw it. It was probably at a Todd Duncan Sales Mastery on stage. Someone talked about, hey, if you make an extra payment a year, you're going to pay off your house in 18 years. And so that was another thing, like common sense. And I didn't want to just like say that conceptually. I wanted to be able to say, hey, family, let's say you did a refinance and, it's going to save you this much per month, which every loan officer in America is going to, they got that right. They know how to, they know how to show monthly savings. But I thought like, hey, what if one, I blew up the savings over time? Like consumer, how long is it important to have it? Oh, it's going to save you that much over 5 years. To me, that's like good salesmanship.
Yep.
It's good advisory. And then what if we took that extra savings and applied it to your principal to the penny? How much is that going to reduce your interest cost? So the Mortgage Coach was born from that, like a couple common sense principles that are not common sense, and automating them so that any loan officer, whether they were new in the business and they just got into business for being in the food service industry, or they can implement these common sense ideas. So that was what gave birth to the total cost analysis.
Now, this is where I love that when you took it to the next level and talking about skating to where the puck is going, you incorporated a video. And we even rapped about this on another one of my 100 videos in 100 days thing where, you introduced video. And so remind everybody, when did that feature go live?
Gosh, well, it's been a long time. I mean,
I know.
It's been 2 years. Now, I think this is one of those things when I think back at why I embrace video, this is where a weakness I have. I mean, I am real deal ADD. So I was that kid in high school, grade school that took Ritalin. So that's real. And then I'm dyslexic. So spelling is not my gift. So I started using video very early on. One, I'm always looking for the differentiator. But really, why did I use video? Because I can't spell anything wrong. And and it's faster. Like I can, what would take me too long to type and write and would have errors, I could just use a video. So I was an early adopter because of a personal gift. Some people would call it a weakness, but a gift that I had. And then I just saw the speed advantage. So I just started like, oh, I'm going to bring video to the mortgage industry because it's a way to personally connect. It's a way to save time. And for all my dyslexic brothers and sisters out there, it's a way to not spell any words wrong.
But I really want to go a tangent here, Dave, because what you just said, number one, thank you for showing that vulnerability is strength and just sharing, something that you thought of, or maybe in the world interprets as a weakness, and figuring out, hey, this is actually going to be a strength later. And here's my story on this. So I have massive call reluctance and massive insecurity from being bullied growing up and all that stuff, from wanting to be accepted and all that fun stuff, right? So that's all lives in here. And so when I was told, I have to go out and meet in 2003, I'm 23 years old. They're like, hey, you need to go out and meet realtors. I want 8 business cards a day. I want you going out on broker previews, open houses, 8 cards a day. And I was so terrified of getting rejected. Right. So but I knew I had to walk in there because calling them out of the blue was even more terrifying. So screw that. But so I knew I had to get in there. And so I didn't sell, because I'm like, if I don't sell anything, I can't reject me for anything. So I didn't sell. I just walked in and introduced myself, asked a couple, high level, whatever questions. And it's funny, I hacked my own success, because without selling, I became non-threatening, and non-threatening, I became a friend or a colleague or an industry, fellow industry professional. And all of a sudden now I had permission to start asking like, hey, why don't did you ever think about using me as a mortgage guy? Because now I had a relationship with them, Dave, and they saw me for months, and they were willing to be like, and I got honest feedback, and a lot of people were like, yeah, I'd love that. Or like, I was waiting for you to ask for business and you'd never asked. And I was like, oh, I was too terrified that you'd say no. And it's incredible. It's like you, with your dyslexia and going into video, I mean, you hacked your own success. Because if we're honest, guys, sometimes our greatest fears and weaknesses are actually the things that are going to empower us to the next level. And Dave, you're a living example of that, because you brought video out, and look at the world now. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, it is crazy. But it's so important, and I still see way too many loan officers not leaning into the video game, and I see too many loan officers thinking video is making a show like this. And this is an example of video, but guys, text video. Send a 15-second, 30-second text video to a realtor after a meeting. In MortgageCoach, the easiest video the two easiest videos you'll ever do are the thank you, because you know how to do that, hopefully. And then the voice memo on a MortgageCoach TCA, where you have that conversation with people on voicemails. Put it in a digital format so that everybody who is helping that family make their mortgage decision gets to connect with you. They get to see you, they get to hear you, and they get to connect with you. It's the biggest no-brainer there ever was.
So I think, Dave, this is going to be the best kind of recognition of what you guys do. So let's show some comments, because we can't see them. If you're on Facebook, you can see the Facebook comments, but you can't see LinkedIn. Put Sean's comment up. Yep. Right
by the way, the tech that you're using here is pretty sweet.
Dude, I'm like this out every day. But look at this. MortgageCoach has changed my business forever. The TCA is a major game changer with my clients. Scroll up a little bit, Mikey. Throw Erica's up there.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate you, brother.
Keep going. I think you'll find it. Erica had a quote about how MortgageCoach has changed her careers. Oh, there's a good one. Yep. MortgageCoach saves me deals weekly, takes the fight out of rate. There's Erica's. MortgageCoach has changed my career. I mean, Dave,
wow,
you're making massive impact in our industry, and you deserve a lot of thanks, because you're making massive impact in our industry.
Well, the MortgageCoach team. I mean, I am a guy who started the fire, but I have a partner that helped create the first version, Greg Wexler, Joe Patur, our head of product, and we just have an amazing team of innovators throughout the entire company. Jacob Gibbs, everybody who's part of MortgageCoach knows Jacob's voice from all the videos he's done and all the support. So we got an amazing team.
Now, here's where I want to take the rest of this conversation. Obviously, you have a tremendous product. And it's serving our community. It's serving our loan officers. They're social proof right in front of our faces on this live podcast. But you also do something different to kind of brand yourself and market yourself. And it's this conversation, or this question, is going to be universal to every single salesperson, mortgage professional on this live or listening to this pod, which is, you don't just produce content saying, look how great MortgageCoach is, which you could. You could have video after video, testimonial after testimonial of look how great MortgageCoach is. Instead, one of the things you do, which has always impressed me, and I took a page out of it, and it's kind of what I'm doing with my strategy, is you bring collaboration and best practices and conversations to the industry, right? Like you bring actual, like, Scriptapalooza. How many of those have you done?
Well, that was the third Scriptapalooza, but I put everything I do when it comes to creating social media content under the category of leadership. And the only force I know that changes the world more than technology, it is leadership. And I started creating content using video, started with GoToMeeting, coming out of the mortgage meltdown, because nobody was doing sales meetings. And if they were doing sales meetings, they were not motivational and great. And so from a MortgageCoach standpoint, I always learned that when it comes to learning to use a new piece of technology, or I looked at the branch managers that had everybody using the tech right, and different companies have different levels of adoption. It's all about leadership. And so my why is I create content because I want to shine a light on other people in our community that are incredible leaders that are actually doing it. And it was just the best way to make the change I wanted to make in the industry, was to to do interviews. So that's, that's why I do it.
And guys, the reason I asked Dave, look, we can all take a page out of that book right there, guys. I literally had a teammate today send me a LinkedIn note saying, I want to get out in the game. I want to produce content at scale. I want to be on video, but I'm afraid that I'm going to lose my, I'm not going to have enough content, and I'm going to fizzle out and I'm going to disappear. And the reality is there's so much content out there. I mean, Dave, your strategy of just interviewing people and sharing best practices alone could go on forever, and I hope it does. There's a comment right here. Again, Sean basically said that his weekly calls are my personal sales meetings, and this one, the weekly series of masterminds, I learn something every time. And what I love about
that, Sean,
is, Dave, you're not just selling your product, you're contributing at scale with leadership. And that, to me, everyone should write that down and take a page from that book and integrate it into their own strategy, Dave. It's exceptionally cool what you do.
Well, thank you, brother. And I do want to comment, the person who said, I'm worried that I'm going to run out of content. I mean, I think that's a very legitimate fear.
Oh.
And when I started creating content, it wasn't like, oh, I am going to do this for the next 10 years. And before you know it, I'm going to be doing 2 live calls a week, and I'm going to be interviewing multiple loan officers weekly. I mean, that was not the plan. And it's still not like I'm committed to doing the amount of content that I do forever. So I think anytime that you're fearful of something, you need to step over that. So, oh, I'm fear. So you've got to step over that and take it one day at a time. Take it one video at a time. And either one, most people aren't going to judge you the way you think they are. And the people that are going to judge you the way you're worried, who cares about those people? Like you're worried about the wrong folks. So, whenever you reach fear, you just need to step over that fear when it comes to video, because we are in a new world, guys. It is a virtual economy. And while we will, be living in the real world again, we will have face-to-face meetings again. Guys, grandma knows what Zoom is. That's like a household name now. and grandma likes Zoom. Like, we had a birthday party on Zoom. My mom loved Zoom. Like, she's like, when are we gonna get on more Zooms? And I'm like, okay, Mom, phone's still cool. We can't Zoom it out every time. But if you are serious about your success as a mortgage professional, you need to use virtual tools like MortgageCoach. I do think we power the ultimate virtual mortgage experience. I do think Zoom or competitors of Zoom are essential to your toolkit. And I think, whether it's Vidyard, BombBomb, video automation platforms, guys, these are essential tools that you need to learn how to play with, and you need to do it now. Like, there's no more time to wait.
Well, and this is where, we were chatting a little bit, Dave, before we went live. It's funny. What's the saying about when the ocean recedes, you get to see who's wearing shorts? When the water level goes out, you get to see who's naked and who's wearing clothes. We're in this moment. COVID arrived. We're all forced to shelter at home. We're all retreating to our home offices and our garages and wherever. And to me, as I look across the social world, it's so evident to me that people that were equipped, they had cameras, they had lighting, they were already doing stuff, and now they're accelerating in their business. Well, some people are catching up, and that's unfortunate, but it's also going to drive this industry forward to the next space. I mean, we're not going back to business as usual. We're going forward into new business and new opportunity.
Yeah, new chapter. It's a new chapter.
Comment. Yeah, it's absolutely going to be a new chapter.
Yeah, can you imagine what life was like before, we had these smartphones?
I do. Remember, I had a Nokia brick phone, and I had to go, and I was MapQuest was around, so I could print out all the maps from location to location to go see which open houses I was going to go hit when I'd pull the hot sheets up, and I'd have them printed out on my seat next to me, and I would drive like that. That I do remember what it was like.
But here's the point I want to make. What's different about this? So when Steve Jobs stood on stage and showed the smartphone, here's what I know. I know I wanted one, and I know I was one of the first to buy one. But I did not know the world had changed forever. I mean, it took some time, for us to like, oh my gosh, that is when, Zillow started. That is when the arms race in the mortgage industry and everybody has to have a digital experience. That's when it started, but we really didn't know it for a few years. But guys, here's what's different now is after 8 weeks of quarantine, grandma knowing what Zoom is, we all know it. We know it's different, and we know we need to step into that. So I think it's different. Like, this is an innovative moment, a moment of innovation and acceleration of digital technology that I think is obvious to everyone. And so I just are you stepping into it is, the question I think we all need to ask ourselves.
Well, and here's a way you guys can step into it. Sean made the comment on Facebook. It's a long post, so we're not going to show it necessarily, but what you do on Facebook with your Mortgage Coach group is incredible. And so I want to encourage anybody who's listening to this later or live right now to flick over to Facebook and join this Mortgage Coach group, because you're going to find 10,000 something members who are collaborating and leaning into new skills. And Dave, you post constantly with relevant content in that place.
I try to make that my social media hub. It's Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind Group, and I do check into it multiple times a day. And I love our community of mortgage professionals. I believe that the Mortgage Coach loan officer is the most valuable loan officer to a family, and I want to grow that. So yeah, it's a great community. Check it out. We also have a YouTube channel.
I was going to say
Mortgage Coach on YouTube. Check it out.
And here's some encouragement for some people that are struggling with content, because Dave, you triggered me a little bit because you said, we're in an accelerating environment. But when you decide to jump over the fear and start creating content and putting out your message, there's also an acceleration that happens. And so I'll give you guys a quick little anecdote. When I realized I was not executing what I was preaching, I was telling everybody to get digital and get to social, and I wasn't doing it myself. I turned around and went, why haven't I gotten all in on this platform? And so I put my personal challenge of 100 videos in 100 days, and I put a Google Doc drive up, and I got 40 pieces of content for 40 videos. And I'm like, dude, if I got 40, I can get 100. And then I powered through that. I got my 100 done. And then I realized, no, I can do a podcast and take this to the next level. And my podcast was going to be one a month. That was like my goal. I got one a month, 12 podcasts. I could do 12 podcasts. Guys, I'm doing one a week now, because this whole thing continues to accelerate forward. Like, there is no shortage of content to talk about. And it definitely accelerates. And that's why when you look at the stuff that Dave's done on YouTube, with 10,000 subscribers, someone saying I'm calling you out right now. I'm calling everybody out right now because I want you to win. And that's what Dave's doing. We want you to win. We want you to play big. And I don't want you to be invisible to the world, because you got so much to offer. And look, I gotta hit it again. The fact that you can use a total cost analysis, that you can put your face into the living room of the customer you're talking to, they can see your intention, they can see your eyesight, they can see you go over the numbers, it's a mandatory tool. You are not going to win unless you're playing that level of game.
Well, I think there's also just a time-saving benefit to when you're using technology to deliver. And again, Mortgage Coach deliver options to families, deliver quotes, deliver advice. But every time, you're seeing a massive number of people figuring out that Calendly or scheduling a meeting using scheduling automation makes sense. Doing interviews, you are using StreamYard right here to do interviews. And guys, a content idea for every loan officer that you get it. You need to do text video. You need to do email video. You need to put Mortgage Coach, TCA. But if you want to start creating content, interview local rock stars. If you want to be a mortgage rock star and you want to be the most well-known loan officer in your market. And by the way, if you are referral based, hey, I live off of referrals, and I live off of referrals, within an hour of where I live, I call you a local referral based mortgage professional. Who I would tell everybody watching this right now, I want you to write down the 10 or 20 most well-known professionals that are also referral based that live off of that on social media. So who are the realtors? Who are the CPAs? Who are the financial planners? Who are the restaurateurs? In every market you live, there are people that are playing this game. And then I want you to go interview them. And maybe if you're afraid to interview them in a way that's a show, interview them for your own curiosity. Like reach out to them and just say, hey, I want to, can you jump on Zoom for 10, 15 minutes? I want to shine a light on you and your business and what you do. And if you're too afraid to like interview with them for the purpose of promotion, which I would recommend you don't, I recommend you just get after it and do it. But at a minimum, interview them for yourself and see what it feels like. And guys, it's a huge opportunity. It's a massive opportunity for anybody watching this right now.
Massive opportunity, guys, because right now, think about what Dave said. He just gave, this is, rewind it and listen to it again on YouTube. Like that, just write down exactly what he said. It's 100% right. And here's what I would add to it that hopefully gives you guys some more juice. There are a lot of businesses suffering right now. They're suffering, whether they're local restaurants, mom and pop retailers, whatever they are, they're suffering because they can't open, they can't run their business the way they want to. They're doing takeout or whatever they're trying to do to survive. You having an interview with them about why they started their restaurant or their little boutique store or what they're doing, how they're thriving, how they're getting through this, and how the listeners can help. This is your opportunity to say, hey, look, how can we help you as a community? And let them tell you how you can help. And then take that piece of content, take that interview and blast it to your past customers in your community about this local place that you love. And now you have a way to help them, whether it's a gift card or come by on Thursday or whatever it is. This is incredibly cool. One of the things loanDepot did that I was like, oh my God, it was so good. We did this, Anthony Shea decided to give away $1 million worth of stuff to first responders and to people that are suffering and dealing with COVID. And he went to the local restaurants that our employees eat at all the time and was like, hey, can I pay you to bring the food? And, single-handedly dropped a huge check on that local restaurant who's like, I was like, suffering. I had no customers. And now that restaurant's delivering food to like the nurses at like Chalk Hospital. And I was like, that's it. That's the right thing. And even if you don't have $1 million, you can still do that with a limited resource.
There's so many. Yeah. And guys, this is where in the mortgage industry, we could be the light. Like we have jobs. We're having record-breaking success. We can help restaurants, small businesses. Yeah. I hope everybody on this call that's watching this is tipping at record levels. I hope you are doing everything you can do to support your local businesses. If you have local service providers, I hope you're prepaying for services. You're doing anything and everything to help local communities. But these interviews are huge. And you guys have Bill Gaylord on the team there. So if anybody's watching this, guys, follow Bill Gaylord. He's part of the American Dream Network.
He's a man.
Yeah, and by the way, Craig Sewing, who's a good personal friend of mine, he's getting ready to come out with this new thing that is Elevate. I think he's calling it Elevate, where it's taking interviews and then editing them and producing them, elevating them. Guys, it is just such a massive opportunity to do these interviews and do them in small ways and do them in big ways. But get out there and do it.
Yeah, and please don't be afraid of it having to be super produced content, guys. Let's just be humans. We all recognize authenticity when we see it. So just be humans and you'll kill it. So Dave, we got a ton of comments, a ton of engagement going on. I usually like to kind of, and this could take a longer time, but I usually like to kind of end the segments I do with advice you would give local mortgage pros. And you're the perfect guy to ask because it's like, hey, look, let's say you got a 30-year-old rookie to the industry, and you've got a 30-year veteran, sitting in front of you, and they both said, Dave, what should I be doing? What do you?
So I'm going to play off of something you just said. Don't worry about editing them, producing them, putting bumpers on them. Be raw, be yourself. I think I'll look back 10 years from now, and one of the most important books I read last year was Story Brand by Donald Miller. And the central theme that I pulled out of that book, and really why I think I will be referencing that book 10 years from now, is it's be the guy, don't be the hero. I think real estate agents, mortgage professionals, we're always trying to be the hero. Look how many loans I closed. Look how smart I am. Look how many years I've been in the business. And I think, first of all, it's important to, we're competitive. We like to win. We like to crush competition. Every single loan is a war. Like every family is looking at different lenders there's a competition taking place, and one loan officer walks away with that. So we are a competitive breed, and I think we need to be successful, but we need to be the guide. And so if I had one piece of advice, I delivered a keynote to a bunch of new loan officers this week. I think it was about 50 new loan officers entering the industry. And I had put in a couple hours of thought, like, what do I want to tell them? I want you to be the guide. And I also, for all you guys that have been doing this for a long time, I want you to really think about your conversation. I want you to look at your website. I want you to look at how are you showing up? Are you the guide or are you the hero? I don't think we celebrate families' success enough. I am seeing a lot of people where they'll like take a screenshot of a testimonial and they'll push it on social media. Guys, I don't think that's being the guide. I think showing a picture of a family and, putting a little story, like taking a minute to tell their story, and then to not just talk about how you closed their loan in 23 days, like, how fast you did it and how low the rate was.
Yes.
I want you to start talking about the ripple effect of what you did for that family. I helped them get their loan. I helped them do a refi that will allow them to unlock $343 a month, which equals $6,350 over 5 years. And because they're going to prepay their mortgage, they're going to pay off their house 8 years earlier. Like, tell stories.
Yes.
And tell stories that have the ripple effect of the lifetime value. Like we are just too transactional. We're cutting and pasting testimonials.
Yes.
We're bragging about low rates. We're bragging about how fast we can do it. Guys, brag about the ripple effect of your advice. And I want to see more stories being told. And I want to see more mortgage professionals being the guide, not the hero. So and if I was talking to you, if my kid was getting in the mortgage business, I would just be talking about, if you're the guide, not the hero, you guys got to work your ass off. I mean, we got to put in the hours. We got to grind. We've got to be intentional with our time. Yep. But the strategy is be the guide, not the hero. I repeated that 5 times, I think.
You should, because I want everyone to hear it. And I love it, Dave. So look, guys, we're going to leave it at that. We're going to drop the mic right there. That was incredible. That was the exact message everyone should hear. Be the guide, not the hero. And in a world of heroes, we need more guides. Dave,
and by the way, guys, time out. I did interview Donald Miller for the mortgage industry. Check that on our YouTube channel. And I did write an article on it with Kristen Messerly. It's on LinkedIn. Like, don't just take what I said. By the way, get his book, read the book, look at the interview, and then execute. So sorry, I just had to do those breadcrumbs.
All right, brother. Peace out. See you guys next week.
Take care.